glad you found this video because I wasn't really too sure what to title it. I don't know if I can get political on the channel here, but I have done it before, so it's not as though this is a new thing. In fact, it just happened last week, although with a lot of satire in mind. We'll get to that. But we're getting to the season here in 2016. It's political season, presidential race season in America, and it has crossed over into heavy metal, where people have started to declare who they are in favor of, who they are against. And there have been some repercussions based off of these choices, and the most recent individual to feel that was Dino Cazares from Fear Factory, who was speaking about Donald Trump to an Australian publication or a piece of media, saying that he was a kook, that if Trump becomes the president, that he is going to be moving to Australia, that he doesn't like Muslims, he doesn't like Mexicans, he doesn't like foreigners, that it's just going to thrust us in the war, it's just going to make things worse. And this was something that was posted over on Blabbermouth. And the comments were, I guess, really surprisingly bad. It sort of turned into a clickbait phenomena for some folks, especially for Trump supporters, that posted back some things. And let me just read this section of sort of the response. And this was actually Dino speaking for I Probably Hate Your Band. And the response was, I was extremely surprised at how many racist comments I was reading because I'm of Mexican descent. I'm an American, I was born in the United States, I pay taxes just like everyone else, and a lot of people were saying, leave, Donald Trump is going to build a wall so your people won't come into America. A lot of people were saying, get the fuck out of here. Beaner. Beaner is a bad word, it's a racial word to the Hispanic people, to be used against Hispanics. I was reading a lot of this stuff and I was like, wow. I'm not really here to 100% speak about that, though I will say that it's oddly prophetic what had happened here. It's prophetic in the sense that Dino is speaking about how he feels that Donald Trump was a kook and how he's really not a fan of foreigners, and his supporters come in and bash Dino for being a foreigner. It actually made Dino look 100% correct. But I'm here primarily to speak about this crossroads that we're at here in 2016. In America, and it's an election season, so of course there always feels like there's a bit of a crossroads idea that's in there, but this is probably the worst or the most prevalent tone of crossroads, to the point where it almost feels like America is no longer a unified nation. It feels like it's one that's more at the more in the brinks of a civil war than anything else, considering how this rhetoric seems to be so polar opposite to one another, and how it seems that whether it be one side or the other side, it just seems like the agenda or what is being spoken about with the most fervor are things that perhaps aren't completely centralized around some of the issues that this country actually faces. And those of you in the international community, I'm sure you're watching a lot of this or see some of this with your publications, with your news, because America is sort of a country you always have to kind of keep an eye on, and it feels bad to say that, being an American. It sounds like we're very self-important, because a lot of other individuals, other countries have plenty of issues of their own, but America is just one of those powers where we've brought it upon ourselves, for better or for worse, probably for worse. It's kind of like what we do with North Korea, and I'm sure that it's brought some laughs, it's brought some concern, it's brought a lot of different emotions. So I invite you guys to comment on this video also. In fact, I implore you to please. But this crossroads that America seems to be at is one that I don't even think many people realize that is happening, or that is really a huge part of day-to-day life. And I think that the riots that you saw, the protests in Chicago over the weekend at the Trump rally, sort of accentuated that and sort of put a cherry on top of what has been going on in this country recently, based around the political spectrum that is now down to 6 candidates. And we're seeing on both sides this sort of slinging campaign that is speaking about different things, but still creating an alarming amount of rhetoric and an alarming amount of talk, whether it be just based off of which candidate someone likes, or different aspects of what they want to bring to the country, which is kind of good. That's kind of what you want. But there's also that tone of, I'm going to leave the country if so-and-so is elected, which caused Google to have, how do I get in Canada, being a popular search with like a 1,200% uptick from typically how many people would actually ask about that, or whatever it is. It's pretty dumb if you ask me. But here we are in 2016, and we're speaking about this, and we have this crossroads that is very much dictated by this election, and it seems like it's because of cult of personality. And politics is all about cult of personality, but this year it seems, in this election, it seems like it is cult of personality to the more extreme degrees, whether you have one side that's speaking more about building walls, either that or using the simple catchphrase of "Make America Great Again," or the other side you have somebody who's speaking about political and social corruption in Wall Street, in big business, or someone who is, trying to campaign or lobby to be the first woman president and seems to really be willing to do or say just about anything to get there. There's a lot of cult of personality here that feels a little bit above what is the usual prescribed amounts, and it's really the cause of concern. It has created a cult of personality within their campaign supporters as well, as you can see, where some people are literally starting to adopt some of the values, and the catchphrases are becoming a lot more than just mottos. They're actually becoming means or ways of life, and this is once again something that the online age, sort of this digital age, the internet age, has pervaded this a little bit more. It's sort of, it's poked the bear a little bit more, considering the anonymity that sometimes can be present there, but also just the way in which folks sort of think before they speak, or don't think before they speak, should I say, and really post just about anything. They get behind these ideas, they support these ideas, and it seems like all of that unfettered, negativity, that unfettered ugliness that perhaps is housed deep within some of us has become exposed and boiled to the surface. And it's to a point where the idea of a unified front in order to try to solve some of the issues that this nation does face, which there are many, there's a multitude of them, that idea is completely and totally impossible. The idea of bringing people together seems and feels a lot more impossible as this continues. It feels as though there will always be a level of division that is unassailable, and that level of division that crack is becoming larger and larger as this one moves forward, as once again the country feels exceptionally divided. And this has been something that we've been building up to for no doubt the past 20 to 30 years, ever since politics began to really start to part the seas a little bit and become farther and farther distant from one another and a lot more competitive toward one another, to the point where it no longer, in many men and women's eyes, feels as though they are aiming to actually help the citizenship. They're instead attempting to only further their own interests. Dino looked, like I said earlier, like a prophet. He said that there's a lot of extreme, hatred that's going on, and it's going to take things on a bad path. And right there in the comments underneath of the article, it was seen, it was displayed. He was seen as right, and that goes back to that people don't think before they speak philosophy, because in reality, it's something where if there was more of a rhetoric or conversation based off of the programs, the ideas that would actually cause some change and actually make America great again, as opposed to just, he's going to build a wall and keep people like you out. I mean, that is a very, I hate to use the phrase redneck, but it is sort of a redneck idea, and it's become where trying to do any sort of satire or anything fun with this election immediately becomes the cause of controversy. And I have one comment. We did a video last week, and I have one comment based off of that. There's a link to the video in the description, where just because the word whack job was used to describe the Republicans in a joking fashion, it was one where jokes were just, it was supposed to be satire, it was supposed to be funny. Just a neat little fun time killer idea. It caused somebody to feel that I disassociated myself from each and every single potential Republican subscriber, which obviously is not the case, considering I don't think I lost very many people, if any, to that. But, that's sort of another great example here, that the opinion that is present it's now such a life or death feel scenario, or at least a you're with us or against us Hatfields versus McCoy's scenario, where that is prevalent and that is becoming more and more status quo, the norm, as opposed to like it was for that video, which is an isolated incident. I feel actually I got a little lucky on that, for now. But yeah, if you are domestic, if you are international, I am not declaring any sort of political face here, because that's something that can be done for another time. Maybe if I ever decide to do something based off of the candidates themselves, once we get down to 1 versus 1, because right now we're still kind of early and there's still a lot that could be really misconstrued. It's just not the right time to do it. It's really not all of that good. But domestic subscribers, international subscribers, alien subscribers, whatever you may be, I encourage you to post your comments and post your thoughts about this, though I will say that if you use very basic generalities, if you simply post Trump's going to make America great again, or feel the burn, or Hillary's going to become the first female president, and I'm with her, I'm going to ask you why. I'm going to be direct. I'm going to be a little bit more snide about it, and it's going to be a universal deal, because I like arguments that have a little bit more meat on their bones. People say, oh, well, only guys, guys go for the meat and boys go for bones, or whatever it is whenever it talks about women or whatever it is. Now, that's how I feel about arguments. I like meaty arguments that give me actual information, as opposed to things that are laced with, racial or hatred-based overtones, either that or generalities. Generalities are a pet peeve. Give me a body, give me a who, give me a why, give me a how. And I guess the final thing I have to say is, even though I have nothing to do with this, Dino, I feel bad that you had to see that. But Dino, at the same time, it proves a bit prophetic. So your statements may not be as outlandish as these folks that commented seem to be making you feel like maybe they are. So that's it. That's all I've got. Until the next time I'm political, which might be sooner than I want it to be. Damn it. I'm CoverKillerNation. I'll talk to y'all later. See ya.